First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Yahweh is who this world ignorantly calls God. Yahawashi is who this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Bahashem means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Kodash means holy. That's on the Paleo Hebrew. I also want to give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Today's lesson, I wanted to talk about how Esau's lies are being dug up and dark-skinned people ruled during the Dark Ages. Right? And the main reason I'm making this video is because a couple videos the brother Arrows and Indignation 144 posted, which was dealing with that. Right? Going into how people are realizing that, hey, the people during the so-called Middle Ages, Dark Ages, were not all white. Right? They were actually dark-skinned. And this is history that they don't teach you in middle school. They don't teach you in elementary. They don't teach you in high school. Right? They completely just go over the Dark Ages, talk about how it was a hard time. Right? There's not a lot of innovation, right? Technological innovation. Okay? And the fact is that that's all lies. There's a ton of innovation. It's just the fact that those that were innovating weren't the Edomites, weren't the so-called white people. Because they were the ones at the bottom. They were the ones that were led into the caves, okay? The Caucasus Mountains, okay, after the Romans fell. Okay, they were the ones which were being oppressed, which is all part of Bible prophecy, right? Revelation chapter 20 talks about that, okay? I'm not going to go over it right now, but it goes into how they were bound for 1,000 years, right? Talking about that old serpent, the devil, Satan, and he was cast into the bottomless pit. And he was bound, or there was a seal set upon him for 1,000 years. Right, that was going into the Dark Ages, Middle Ages, how, hey, no matter what they wanted to do, they're not going to get into power. And during that time, you had dark-skinned people ruling all of Europe. And we have receipts to that. We have receipts. Okay, but let's get the scriptures first. Let's get Job. Let's get Job chapter 13 and verse 4. It says, and this is talking about the wicked, it says, but ye are forgers of lies. You're all physicians of no value. Okay, and that's exactly what they do, right? They constantly create lies, okay? They constantly deceive. Like I was talking about in Revelation 20, it talks about how he had a seal upon him, that he would deceive the nations no more till that seal, those 1,000 years were done. Okay, and that's exactly what he did. Right? What happened after the so-called Middle Ages, which lasted from 400 to around 1400? You had the Renaissance. Right? What does Renaissance mean? It goes back to re means again, not renaissance, nacimiento in the Latin or Spanish, or the rebirth. Right? They came back into the power. That prophecy was fulfilled. And since then, they've been deceiving the nations and pushing forth lies. And one of the main ones is that during Europe, right, in the Middle Ages, it was all white people, and there's a ton of, I don't even know what they say anymore. I just know this is all lies, right? And the fact is that this information I'm about to talk right now is something new, right? I recently learned about this. And that's how crazy it is that this is something that has been hid for a long time. And it's not just Esau, Edom, the one that was hiding it. It's all these nations that were hiding this information and ultimately oppressing the nation of Israel. But let's first get a little letter from Benjamin Franklin and see what he said about those people during that time. Okay, so this is Benjamin Franklin on German immigrants to the colonies, right? Because, hey, you'll search up on Google, right? The Irish, you have the Vikings, you have the Nords, you have the Scottish, right? You'll put that on Google and all you'll get is a bunch of white people, right, with twisted beards, long hair, right? That's what you get Viking. That's what they push forth as Vikings, that image. But in actuality, they were dark skinned, right? They were dark skinned. The Vikings were dark skinned. And I'm about to read it. But let's first read this right here, the preface. Over 20 years before the independence of the United States from Great Britain, Benjamin Franklin noted the rapid increase of the German population of North America, and he wasn't happy. In a 1755 essay titled Observations Concerning the Increasing of Mankind, People of Countries, he reflected the kind of people he would like to see settle in the colonies. Okay? So when you jump down all the way to the last paragraph, you get this right here. Starting right here. It says, which leads me to add one remark. that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. All Africa is black or tawny. Asia chiefly tawny. America exclusive of the newcomers. Okay, wholly so. And in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion. Now let's go and search up what swarthy means. Swarthy means dark-skinned. Okay? Dark skin, dark color, complexion. Okay, and that's exactly what he was talking about. All those people in Europe, the Spaniards, the Italians, the French, the Russians, and Swedes, are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, dark-skinned, because they're the ones that are ruling during that time period. It says, as are the Germans also. The Saxons only accepted, who with the English make the principal body of white people on the face of the earth. Right? And that's just ain't nothing but facts. Right? The reason there wasn't a lot of so-called white people, Edomites, is because they were at the bottom of the barrel. Okay? They were in the Caucasus Mountains. Okay? Being absolutely cavemen. Job talks about that. How they're the most vilest of all men. Okay? Eating from the juniper roots. Right? The bushes. It goes all into it. Right? Find the key word in Job and get that scripture. Okay? But these are the lies. This is the truth. Right? This is the truth that we weren't told in school. And it's all coming to light now. But let's get another scripture now. Job chapter 9 and verse 24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right? And the wicked are the Edomites. Okay? Malachi, the first chapter, goes into that. Obadiah also goes into that. I think Isaiah chapter 34 also goes into that. Right? The people of my curse. You back that up with Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 33. Goes into how the curse of the Lord is upon the wicked, the house of the wicked. Right? All those precepts link to show that the Edomites are the wicked of the earth. Okay? And they are the ones that are ruling right now. The earth is given into their hand. And this began starting with the Greek Empire. Right? Starting with Alexander the Great. That's when the Edomites first began ruling. Talks about that in 1 Maccabees chapter 1, after talking about how after Alexander fell, after he passed away, the kingdom was gave unto what's it called? The kingdom was divided into his 4 generals, and evils multiplied upon the earth. Okay, that's when the wicked started ruling the earth. And what does it say about them? It says that he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. Right? Who are the judges? The Israelites. Okay. What does it mean covering their faces? He's covering their identity. Okay. He's covering who the true Israelites are. Okay. What they look like. Okay. All that information, he covered it. Because the true Hebrew Israelites are the so-called Latinos, Negroes, and Native Americans. Not those people over there in the land of Israel with little small black hats. Right? That's a cunningly devised fable. And it's all coming out. And when did these Edomites start doing that? When did the wicked start doing that? Primarily at the Renaissance, the rebirth. They committed what's called iconoclasm. Right? They started painting over all the pictures, these dark-skinned pictures, making them all white. Right? I have 2 videos I'm going to play which goes into that. Right? Proof, okay, that the people weren't white and they were actually dark-skinned. And showing pictures before and after how they were painted over, the deception, covering the faces of the judges. But we'll read one more scripture and then I'll just let the videos play. Psalms chapter 83. Because I said earlier that all the nations have had a bidding on this. Have had a bidding in this. So Psalms chapter 83 and verse 3, it says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, so-called white people, and the Ishmaelites, so-called Arabs, of Moab, so-called Chinese, and the Hagarenes. And it keeps on going. Okay, and it's all dealing with the fact that all these nations, they all came together to oppress and make the nation of Israel, who the true Hebrew Israelites are, be a complete mystery, be a complete lie. And they twisted it. Right? But here it is, we're in the last days, and that, Ezekiel chapter 37 is happening. The Great Awakening. the valley of the dry bones. Okay, and those bones are receiving that spirit, right? The sinews in the flesh is coming upon them, and that breath of life is entering their corpses. All via this word, all via this information, this knowledge I'm talking about. And it's all backed by the Bible and secular history. But I'll get the videos, and I'll call it a wrap, right? So I'll just call off right now. Hopefully this is edifying with that, and give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the outer bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that tell me this truth. Shalom, shalom.
This man claims we have been lied to about history.
Very important man here, James Vernon, and it's telling us here in this book that he's also a tall and thin, brown complexion man, all right? A brown complexion man. Now, what does Wikipedia and the internet show us? This is him right here. Get a close-up of the picture. Does that look like a brown complexion man to you? That's a white man they painted. This is not the person that they're describing. This is what, again, the internet gives us, and this is what is in the textbooks, all right? Not just that this is in Wikipedia. This is what they showed us all our lives. So now we're in this book. That was a great find. It's called Memoirs of the Secret Service of John Mackay during the reigns of King William, Queen Anne, and King George I. We're going to begin with this person right here, which he's describing as, his name is Charles, known as the Duke of Somerset, Master of the Horse, of the ancient family of Seymour, who made so great a figure in the reign of Edward VI. I remember these are the people he's spying on, so these are the Jacobites, all right? So, first thing I want to do is show you the hijack, all right? But please dodge the hijack. I'm about to show you why. Please dodge the hijack. This is Charles Seymour VI, Duke of Somerset, I suppose, the same person, all right? Now I just want you to see the picture they're showing here. All right, do you see that? All right, we see a white guy, right? A little bit of curly hair. A little bit of curly hair. Right? He got some curls in his hair. All right. But we got a white guy, right? Now, we're going to go ahead, all right, and get to this part of the book where it describes what he looks like. It says he is of middle stature, well-shaped, and very black complexion. Very black complexion. A lover of music and poetry, of good judgment, but reason of great hesitation in his speech, once expression. He is about 42 years old. All right, what is he? Very black complexion. All right, the Duke of Somerset. Yet in Wikipedia, we're finding something else, right? They're showing us a white guy here. So dodge the hijack. This is a later on painting.
I will be exploring more of this book so you don't have to. Follow me to not miss out. History is a lie. How was a son of the first Stuart King of Scotland described? From The Book of Aaron by W.M. Mackenzie. For one, natural son of Robert II, found a place in the new hereditary sheriffdom of Bute and Arran, which was in existence at least by 1385, and among the perquisites of the office this John Stuart, the dark-complexioned or black, had Corey Gills in Arran, John Stuart. Son of the first Stuart King of Scotland is described as having a dark complexion. It must have been darker than usual because he was nicknamed the Black Stuart, similar to how King Charles II was nicknamed Black Boy. It was a nickname coined by his mother because of the darkness of his skin and eyes. He was described being of a sable hue. See our previous video for full context. For John Stuart to be at the later end of the complexion spectrum, at the very least one parent had to be melanated. But realistically, to be dark enough to be nicknamed the Black, both parents had to be melanated. Well, so what if the Stuarts were melanated? Why is the complexion of John Stuart important? Let's read how the inhabitants of the same island of Arran, under the sheriffdom of John Stuart, were described some 300 years later, during the first years of the 1700s. From A Description of the Western Islands of Scotland, by Martin Martin, published in 1716. The Isle of Arran. The inhabitants of this isle are well-proportioned, generally brown, and some of a black complexion. They enjoy a good slate of health and have a genius for all callings or employ. So, some 330 years later, after John the Black Stuart received the sheriffdom of Bute and Arran, the descendants of those people are described as brown and some black of complexion. Surely the people of Arran must be the exception to the rule. Quote, Jura. The Isle of Jura is, by a narrow channel of about half a mile broad, separated from Ela. Let's jump a few pages where the author describes the physical characteristics and culture of the people of Jura. Quote, the natives here are very well proportioned, being generally black of complexion and free from bodily imperfections. They speak the Irish language and wear the plaid bonnet, like other islanders. Well, surely the people of Arran and Jura were the exception to the rule. The Isle of Carray. The inhabitants are all Protestants and speak the Irish language generally, there being but a few that speak English. They are grave and reserved in their conversation. They are accustomed not to bury on Friday. They are fair or brown in complexion. Right, you get the point. Highlanders in the Scottish mainland and Irish had similar complexions also. Brown, dark brown, pale and fair. The obvious question is, what happened to these people? Was it simply ruthless genocide like the indigenous Australians suffered? Or is it a more complex, multi-layered answer with great historical repercussions? After all we know, thanks to primary sources, religion and political alignment caused wars in Europe at this time, not mere skin color. And we know the English Civil War and the following Jacobite rebellions were fueled by religious hatred and political alignment. So what actually happened? That is exactly what we will cover next week. Like and share for more lost history. And that's why we say,